Hello and welcome to my studio. In this video I'm going to show you how I made this picture. By capturing an image with a strange perspective, it's possible to add extra interest to the final picture. This picture was captured with a 24mm wide-angle tilt-shift lens, close into the subject. And in this video I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. Okay, so starting with the subject, what I've got here is a pea pod and some bits of plant which I've attached to this lab stand. This makes a very good way of holding subjects such as this because it gives you an awful lot of control. Okay, so that's the subject. Now I mentioned that I took the image with a tilt-shift lens, which I have attached to my full-frame camera. So this is a 24mm tilt-shift lens attached to the camera. On the top of the camera here I have a flash sync trigger. Now this is also capable of controlling the energy in the studio heads I'll be using, and the camera is tethered into Capture One software, so it's easy to see the results as we go along. So this tilt-shift lens has the ability to change the angle between the lens itself, if I just drop it like that, so the lens has now dropped down with respect to the film plane or the sensor plane in the back of the camera. Now that will allow you to change the angle of the plane of focus. So instead of having a plane of focus which is straight, you can have a plane of focus which is actually also at an angle. You'll get the idea as we go along. Okay, so just to start with, I'll just keep that as a normal lens. So this will just act like a normal 24mm wide-angle lens. Okay, I'll pop this on the tripod, like that, and we'll just line up the shot. Okay, so I think the first thing I'll do is just wind that up a little on the tripod, like so, and maybe focus that up a little, and just reframe that a bit using the geared head. There we are. Okay, so with that done, next thing to do, as always, would be just to capture a frame with no flash, just to make sure there's no contamination from the house lights. Okay, so I'll turn the camera on, like that, and the software's recognised the camera, and these are the settings that's on the camera at the moment. So it's in full manual mode, 1/250th of a second for the shutter speed, which is the flash sync speed for that camera, ISO 100, and at the moment I'm using an aperture of f8. So we'll see how we go with that, but with those settings I'll grab an image and hopefully that will be blank, which it is. So that just confirms that we're safe to carry on and set the first light. Okay, so to light this subject you actually don't need a great deal of energy at all. I'm going to be using a pack and head system, a small pack and head system, which is the Profoto B2. This is roughly equivalent to the modern B10 in terms of energy. And basically it's a fairly small head, as you can see here. By placing this head relatively close in to the subject, somewhere around here, that means that because this head is this size, but it's close to the subject, it will actually give quite a soft result. Now, in order to place that there, what I'm going to use is a lab stand, like this. So don't need any other stands or anything. This should suffice. So I'll just pop this on the end of here, like that, and just place that in position. Something like that anyway. There we go. Okay, so having set this in something like the right position, I'll turn the flash sync trigger on, and I'll just turn the pack on, like so. Now at the moment I've set this to its minimum energy, so it's really on the smallest amount of energy that I can get out of this pack. That's again because this is very close. So the inverse square law will say that I don't actually need a great deal of energy to illuminate the subject. Okay, so with all that in that sort of position, what we'll do is grab a frame and just see what the exposure's like. Okay. Okay, there we go. So we've got a reasonable exposure there. It's a good starting point. Obviously you can see all the lab stands and various bits of scaffolding in the background, but we'll address that a little later. But the image itself looks relatively normal. There isn't a great deal of distortion in there, and the perspective is more or less what you'd expect from a wide-angle lens. So what I'm going to do is alter the perspective somewhat and also alter the plane of focus. Again, you can see in this image that it's sharp in the middle, but it's not sharp on the ends at all. So what I'm going to do is just take this and tilt the lens all the way down to the bottom like this. There we go. Now just so you can see what's going on, I will do that with live view on. So I'll just turn live view on. There we go. Okay, so now when I alter this, you should be able to see that it'll change the field of view. Now that's because obviously I'm now looking down as far as the lens is concerned. So in order to compensate for that, I'm going to wind the camera back upright. So again, on the control on the tripod, I will just wind that up to about that position there. There we go. Now the other thing that will allow me to do is actually get in a bit closer. Now the closer I get, the more distortion there will be. So again, let's just do that with live view on. So I'll move the tripod just in a bit like that. There we go. Need to refocus that. There, now we're starting to get the sort of image with the sort of distortion that I want. And you should again be able to see that now we have focus almost from the very tip to somewhere around here. So a little bit of fine tuning is going to be required, but all in all, not bad. We're getting there. Okay, so I'm going to take it out of live view and we'll just grab an image and see what we get. Okay, so that's coming along quite nicely. So this is what we had before. And this is what we've got now by moving in a little closer. And I think we're almost there. So that little bit of fine tuning, I think one of the things I want to do is just take the angle up slightly. So I'll just wind that up on the column here to about there. And now re-establish the angle like that on the geared head. There we are. And again, just check the focus. Yes, not bad. I think what I might do is just move some of the greenery there. So now, having adjusted all that, I can just get out of live view and we'll just grab an image again. Yes, that's starting to get there, I think. Okay, so I think the lighting at the back here is a bit harsh and just needs a bit of adjustment. So what I can do is I'm just going to put a flag in here just to take the light off the very back of the subject. And for that, another piece of lab equipment. So basically just a piece of card in a clamp, like so. And I'm just going to attach this onto here. There we are, we'll see what that looks like. So I'll just give that a quick test. Yes, that's starting to take down the exposure at the top here. If I go to this one, you can see that this is all quite bright. And now it's got a bit darker. Okay. So I'll just put that a little lower. Small changes make quite a large difference. There we are. I'll just try that again. Yes, that's more like the sort of thing I want. So it's taken all of this down quite a lot now. Okay, so the next thing that I think I want to do is just soften this ever so slightly. So again, for that, what I'm going to do is just add a piece of diffusion material just across the top of the light here. And I'm literally just going to place that on top of the lens like that. Okay, so with that in place, let's just grab another image and show the difference that's made. So you can see now the highlights on the P's here and the difference in quality of light that we've just achieved with that very small change, which is quite impressive. Okay, so again, a next thing to do would be to look at this area down the bottom here. This is getting a little dark, so I think what I need to do is just fill that in. So again, a piece of card. So I'm just going to use this piece of card, which I've previously attached with a couple of clamps just to this bar of a lamp stand, and I'm just going to attach this here somewhere just to fill in that bottom corner. There we are. I'll just move that in a little, just change the angle like that. And now we'll grab an image and just see what difference that bit's made. There. So that has now brought all this back to life again down here. This is what we had before, and this is what we've got now. So again, quite a large change considering such a small item in there. Right, so the next thing to do would be to just do something about all the scaffolding in the background here. So in order to hide that, what I'm going to use is a couple of bits of cloth, black cloth, which I'm just going to clip on to the various stands. So very carefully, because I don't want to disturb anything if I can help it. Just pop this on here. Like so. I'll just pop this other piece on here. Just like that. There. Okay, so with those in position, let's grab that again. There, so that's got rid of all those parts. So this is now really coming along. I think we're almost there. I'd just like to extend the depth of field even further. So what I'm going to do is change the aperture from f8, and I'm going to go all the way up to f22. Okay, so that's a 3-stop change, so I'll need to add 3 stops of energy to the flash head here to compensate for that. So I'll just dial that in. There we go. So with that set, let's grab another image and see what we get now. There. So that is now sharp from front to back and has given me the distortion that I wanted. And I think that looks quite nice. This is what we had before. So we have all these bits which are out of focus. And this is what we've got now with everything in focus. Okay. So with that captured, it just remains to go into Photoshop and do the bare minimum of post-production to finish off the image. So here we are in Photoshop. And I've loaded up the file of the image that I captured earlier. So the first thing I'm going to do is just make a duplicate file, and to do that I'm going to go onto the top layer here and just right click the mouse, ask for a duplicate layer, but ask for a new document. Like so, and we'll just call that Ps. There we are. So now I have a copy of that document, which is Ps, which is at the top here, so I can get rid of the camera original. That way I have redundancy, so I can always go back to the camera original which hasn't been edited. This is the one which I'll be editing. Okay, so I think the first thing I'd like to do is just reframe it slightly. So to do that, what I'm going to do is just go on to the crop tool here, and I'm going to pick a ratio of 16:9 because this is destined for video. And what I'm going to do is just bring out these sliders past the edge of the image so that I can then reframe the image within this constraint, like so. So I think that wants to go into about there. So all this empty space on this side, I think I'm just going to fill with black for the time being. Just reduce that ever so slightly. There we go. So with that done, I'll just click on the commit button for that. And there we have our new composition. Okay, so to fill this side in, what I'm going to do is add a new layer, which at the moment is empty, and I'm just going to paint in with black across this side. So with black selected as the foreground color, I'll just pick a paintbrush and we'll go for something quite large and just paint that in. There we are. So with that done, what I'd like to do next is just get rid of the slight cobweb that I've got on here. I'm going to leave the cobweb which is on this bit because I think it looks quite nice, but this one's a little distracting, so I'm just going to get rid of that. I'm just going to zoom in, and again with a paintbrush, but quite a lot smaller this time. And I'm still on the same black layer, so I can always turn this off should I need to. And I'm just going to paint that bit out like that. There we are. Okay. And while I'm here, I can see that there's some debris on this leaf. So I'm just going to use the healing brush tool. So go on to the actual layer that I want. Change the brush size a little so it's a bit smaller. Pick a sample site, press the Alt key, and just paint that out. There we are. There's some more bits up here, so I'll just do the same sort of thing. There. All gone. Right. Just zoom out, and there we have it. So by using a tilt shift lens with a wide angle and very close to the subject, I've managed to get a very strange point of view. And that I think has added to the complexity of this image. And I think that's worked very well. Okay, well I hope you like watching how I made that image, and if you like watching these sort of things, do click on the other images as they appear, and don't forget to subscribe. Oh, and hit the like button. Thank you very much for watching.